Still waiting for a big smile out of you. You're up 2-0. What's the story? Are you not happy, or you're only half happy, or
Still to be happy about.
you're up 2-0?
Job's not finished. Job finished? I don't think so.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rick's Blazin Takes. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you here with me. I appreciate that. So without further ado, let's welcome to another show of Rick's Blazin Takes. I am Rick Blaze, of course, giving you the ins and outs of what's going on SimWorld. And today we're talking, yes, finally, detail Race to 1. We're talking about Race to 1. We're talking about the first round, the Legacy Conference, and the Legend Conference. We're going to break this down into part 1 and part 2. Today we're going to get into part 1, which is the Legacy Conference. Now, me in all of my glory and all of my wisdom, I know I can get these conferences and break them down and tell you what I'm going to pick and how this is going to work and what team's going to go back and forth and who's going to win and why. But you know what? I decided to bring another smart aleck on the show with me today. So I have a special guest in the building, Marsh Pod. Marsh, what's up, buddy?
What up? Yeah, smart aleck. I think that's about as good of a description as I'm going to get.
Well, I said us, smart aleck, so I kind of gave you and me the both.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
There we go.
I agree with that decision.
All right, so we're going to break it down. Today we're going to talk about the Legacy Conference. Tomorrow we're going to get into the Legend Conference. Let's just get into it, man. 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5, 3 versus 6, 2 versus 7. You're the guest on the show. I'll let you go first. Starting with a 1 versus 8 matchup. Tell me who wins and tell me why.
I mean, it's not going to be any surprise. I think I might be the biggest bandwagoner for them, but it's going to be Rocky Mountain. You love their depth on them. They have guys at the 6th and the 7th spot in their rotation that I think probably could start for almost every other team. They got Justin Bell, who I think is probably a top 10 guy next season. And they've got dudes that if he's not going off, you have confidence that the rest of the roster is going to pick up the slack. And that just doesn't exist for any other team in SimWorld Hoops. There's a reason they have the seed that they have. So I think it's a no-brainer to me that it's Rocky.
You know, and I have to agree with you. It is what it is. Like, I haven't trusted bad boys all season long. I've gone on record in saying that as much. They've been playing pretty good basketball as of late. I'm gonna have to give them that. Phoenix look a whole lot better as of late. I have to give them that. But again, Rocky Mountain's been on a whole nother planet as far as playing. They've been more consistent, so I have to agree with you. For all the same reasons, Rocky Mountain over Bad Boys in 1 through 8. All right, cool. So first round, first game, we agree. Next game, we're going to go through 4 through 5. Marsh, you want to go first? You want to go every other time? You want to go you first every time?
Yeah, I want you to go this one.
Here we go.
I had it as my number one game because it's the hardest to pick. So I want to see where you go first.
All right, so let's come back to it. Let's go to 2 versus 7 then.
Okay.
All right.
Let's do it.
2 versus 7. Rainy Trays versus Gotham 5. Look, this is SimWorld, baby. There will be upsets all over this bracket. I think there's at least one upset in each round. And guess what? This is where I predict my upset to happen. G5 at number 2. I think this Rainy Trays situation with Kevon Jackson, I don't know. I think it propels them for this game. Maybe this game only. Hell, it might make them go a little bit further. But I got G5 actually losing to the Raining Trays as my upset. Ding, ding, ding. Upset time. Number 7 knocks off number 2.
So I think you're right that there's going to be an upset in the first round. I think it's similar to like March Madness, right? You know you're going to get upsets the first 2 weekends. The hard part, and it's almost like throwing darts blindfolded, is picking which one is which.
Correct.
I don't have the stones to pick Raining Trays because the way Gotham 5 has played since April has been nothing short of just absolutely dominant. I think they're 16-3 in their last 19 games. Raining Trays, while exceptionally good, and they have the piece that, like, if you're trying to build a upset team, you need to start with an elite scorer, and they have that guy in Japhet Towns. Where I get a little concerned is just Mackenzie Mbaka's been playing really awesome for the last about month and a half. He's come into his own, and the advantages that you would think reigning Trays would have with Jason Crosser at 7'1", Travion Sherwood 6'9", Jaffa Townsend not small at 6'6". Gotham 5 is that plus some, right? Mackenzie Mbako's 6'9". Aaron Lovejoy is 6'11". They've just Morgan Williams is 6'11". They've got the size that kind of counteracts a lot of that. So for me, I can't run away from Gotham 5 after, like, last week on my podcast, we do a whole bit on this might be the best team in the league. I can't run from them right now, so I would go Gotham 5.
All right, hey, I'm not mad at that. Most people will go Gotham 5 in this situation.
Yes, you're the one on the
yes,
taking a deep walk on the plank here.
Yeah. I don't mind. People put me blindfolded off the plank, and then let me just go for what I go. It's all the way dumb until it looks right. So I'm gonna go upset there. All right, here we go. 3 versus 6. I'll let you take the first crack at that matchup.
There's a part of me that wants this to be the upset I pick, but my concern is that where the originators succeed is when Victorious Ilgauskas is allowed to be in the paint. When they play against athletic bigs, like when they played against Run DMV, when they played against Gotham 5, they got exposed because those bigs were very athletic and very mobile. Tyson Simpson is athletic, but he's a powerful athlete, which I think plays into the hands of the originators. So I'm actually going to go with the originators here, though I don't feel too confident in it, but I think it makes sense.
Hey, I'm right there with you, March, and I almost feel guilty agreeing with you or halfway agreeing with you. I kind of want to, because this just doesn't feel right. But 3 versus 6, I agree for all the reasons. Originators, they're stronger when the big fella for the team at Ilgauskas get to stay in the paint. And on this Beyond the Arch team, they get to stay in the paint.
Yep.
Except I think Tyson Simpson is arguably number 2 or the number 1 most dominant player in SimWorld. I'm going upset city again, baby. I'm going on the arch again, upset. The number 6 pulls out the upset versus the 3 seed. I know I'm going to catch a lot of hell about this, but come hell or hot water, I stand on what I stand on. I think that the formula is there for originators to win this game. I think it's a close game, and I think I'm going to predict something here. Now, the number 2 guy for being on the arch, for the most part offensively, has been who you would say who?
The number 2 guy overall for them has got to be Ori.
Ori, right? I predict Ori has a good game. I predict Nick Bowie steps up this game, though. I think Nick Bowie is the difference. I think Kadarius Loftus goes down this wishing well again and sucks like he's been doing every so often, or more often than not lately. And I think upset goes again beyond the arch. Number 6 pulls up the dub versus number 3.
Look, and to that point, when you're talking like Kadarius Loftus, he's really been bad. I mean, the reason that this team has gone from winning 9 straight to losing 4 straight, a lot of that is because of Jared Quinney and Kadarius Loftus just not being efficient, not being good. So to me, if you're picking the originators, that is like the biggest thing that I'm worried about is I know what I'm getting from DJ. I know I'm going to get 20 points. I've said this multiple times. He does not have huge games. He does not go for 30. He does not go for 35. But you're getting 20 points every single time out. Victorious Ilgauskas is going to defend the paint every time out if he's given an opportunity. What you don't know is Loftus or Quinney. That is, to me, why this team has been so hot and cold to close out the season, because those two just have not been anything close to what they were on that 9-game winning streak. So you're right. If either of those guys come out and they play subpar, like, you don't even really need a huge game from Daniel Ori. You just need a slightly above average game from him. You need Nick Bowie to just hit a couple of threes, and this game is over because there's nothing behind DJ Wagner.
It's crazy to say that about a number 3 seed team who was number 1 for most of the season. That is like it's really feast or famine at this point for the originators.
Right. It's disturbing how bad they've been over the last 5 games. After looking, like you said, the best team in the league, there was no question in my mind at that point in time when we got to today and you're looking at, I'm picking a team, I was picking the originators. They win 9 straight. You're like, all right, this is over. They're going to beat Gotham 5 in this massive game to get to the first double-digit win streak in league history, and let's wrap it up. That's the team to beat. Instead, they just keep getting beat.
It implodes 100%. All right, 4 versus 5, which is again, I agree, it's the toughest game. I think they're the 2 toughest game on both conferences. 4 versus 5. I guess there's a such thing as an upset. I don't see these 4 versus 5 matchups as upsets. But is it your turn to go first or mine?
I picked OGs first, so
okay.
You need to take the reins on this one.
Here we go. Beats of the East versus Run DMV. I'm going to. I like Run DMV. I don't love how Run DMV has to win.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like them as a team. I like their makeup. I like the coach a lot. I don't love Run DMV's winning formula. Run DMV's winning formula is very simple. If they make threes at a high clip, they win. Mm-hmm. If they miss threes at a high clip, they lose. Me being from Houston, watching the Houston Rockets and James Harden's team, I know how painful that is in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Because your shot falls sometimes and your shot doesn't fall other times. But when that's all you need, when that's all you have to rely on, that's a problem for me. I got Beast of the East. I think actually Coach Myron Murray gets out-coached by Coach Drayden in this one. And I think Beast of the East wins this game. And I'm going to say it gets away from Run DMV pretty late. I got Beast of the East win this thing by double digits at the end of the game.
So I think you're right that I don't like how Run DMV has to win. But at the same time, I think Beast of the East has a very similar formula. Neither of them have a superstar. And their best player is probably a rim-running big who's a very great vertical athlete who they need to play 28 minutes or more per game to win. I mean, you look at the game when Beast of the East was in Gotham 5. It was a very competitive game in the first quarter. Beast of the East actually got out to like a double-digit lead. 11 Cutler sits on the bench. They have nothing behind him and Kearney, and they get demolished on the boards, and Gotham 5 ends up winning. That's a very similar approach with Nick Hugo. If Nick Hugo gets 10 or more shots, his team has lost like twice all season. But neither of those guys am I putting in saying that's the best big in the league. Obviously, Tyson Simpson is better than them. There's no question of that. But even if it wasn't Tyson Simpson, I couldn't be convinced that they were there. They might be by default because there's just not a huge talent at the big man position at this age, as you would expect. But I'm going Run DMV because I actually believe in – and I'm not saying I don't believe on either coach here, but what they have done in big games is second to none. I think they've lost 2 games against teams that I would consider top 8 teams, so like 4th seed or higher. They rise to the occasion consistently. They do have a handful of dudes that you're right. They have to rely on 3-point shooting. But despite that, they take the most threes in the league, and they hit at the 3rd best clip. So for me, I'm just going to shade my bets on what we've seen happen all season happens for them on the biggest stage. Does it happen 4 times in a row? I'm not convinced of that, but I think it happens in round 1.
And, you make a very solid point. Run DMV has gone big game hunting all season long. Coach Murray has been saying that, hey, you find a team that's beat more above 500 teams or more top 5 teams than me, and I'll wait. And he's right. He goes big game hunting. He really does. But I predict my man that I've been vouching for, Kasim Porter, has a breakout performance. I think this is Kasim Porter, along with other stars that we'll get into another episode, are going to have breakout performances that they're going to become those next guys up because they're going to show off in the playoffs. I think he's going to be the difference maker for that team. I could be wrong because, again, like you said, Run DMV has been big game hunting all season. Anytime they needed a big win, they've got it, period. Anytime their backs was against the wall, they've come out on top, period. I believe Kasim Porter and Coach Drayden formula going into the game is going to be just enough to get Run DMV on their heels, and they're not going to be able to come back from it.
And the ironic part about like that, you're saying like, okay, Kasim Porter. So Kasim Porter is the 5th highest scorer on Beast of the East, averaging 7.8 points per game. Free Redmond leads the team with 14.8. If you look at Run DMV, their 5th highest scorer or at least somebody that's like in that ballpark, is Brandon Smith at 8.9, and it's an equally reasonable approach to approach and say, well, Brandon Smith could be the guy that pops off. Like, that's just what these teams are built on. Is a really athletic big man, a guard in Kamarian Bracken for Run DMV compared to Free Redmond. That's a good scorer, but not an elite scorer. Like, he's not averaging 20 points per game. And you don't really think he's the best player, but statistically he looks like it. And then they've got guys behind him, Trey Tress, Bandit, and Smith for Run DMV. We're like, well, if those guys just go nuts, then there's your game. So they are as carbon copy of similar teams as you can possibly get. And I think it's telling that they were literally separated by one game, BC East with 20 wins, Run DMV with 19. Like, they just are the same exact team, just with two very good coaches as well in Drayton versus Murray. It just seems like we're getting, no matter what, we're going to get a team that advances is going to be obviously a different jersey, but the same makeup, look, and feel as the one that they just played against.
Right, and all those points are valid. I'm just going to down the fact that Brandon Smith for Run DMV has the ugliest jump shot I've seen in a very long time. He shoots it like a middle schooler, and I cannot put my faith. Although he's shot at a high clip at times.
44%.
Yeah, I can't put my faith in a guy with a middle school hip shot. I'm sorry. I just can't. That's the difference. That kills it for me.
Hey, look, I'm not here to tell you otherwise, but I mean, buckets are buckets.
Buckets are buckets.
I don't know what else to say.
But I do have a thing about style points, Marsh. I have a thing about style points, and I just think, you know the old saying, if your girlfriend's ugly, that means you got low self-confidence. Like, I just have a thing about style points, and he doesn't do it with any style or grace, as Biggie would say it. So I have to penalize this team because of it.
Look, the girlfriend take is a very old man baseball scout take you've got there, Rick.
Yes.
If the shortstop's girlfriend's ugly, he can't hit a curveball. I mean, that's as old school as it gets.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's debunked that yet, though. I don't know if it's ever been debunked.
I mean, wasn't that the entire point of Moneyball, that they were out here proving that?
Yeah, and they were doing some winning.
Yeah, not a championship, but doing some winning.
Well, sure. We all can't be. There's only one champion every year, Mark. So
this is true.
There's only one. You only get one time around the ride. So that's just I bet Coach Murray likes Brandon Smith because he shoots like that and as well. I think Coach Murray shoots like Brandon Smith, and that's why.
Most disrespectful stray I've ever seen a coach.
Wait. If buckets is just buckets, then Coach Murray's going to agree with you. Hey, as long as I put it in the basket. But man,
but you just telling me he's got an ugly.
It's ugly. I bet Coach Murray has an ugly. I'm sure Coach Murray has an ugly jump shot, and I think he will go on record and say he has an ugly jump shot. Well, when he hears the episode, we'll see. If he
admits it, then that's no straight take.
Yeah, I think he admits it. He has an ugly jump shot. All right, that's our list. You guys put it in the chat. What do you think? Are we right? Are we wrong? Who you think is going to put your information, who you believe is going to win this first round in chat. Let's cuss and discuss. Till tomorrow, part 2. See y'all.